So I'm just starting off by buffing some concealer onto my eyelids. I'm not going to set this, I'm going to leave it wet because I want to have that sort of tacky-ish base for the eyeshadows to stick to, since we're going in for quite bright colours. You really want them to stand out and you don't want to have to waste time like building up layer after layer after layer. So the first shade I'm going in with here is Bloody Mary from Suva Beauty. It's just a matte true red and I'm taking it on quite a large blending brush because this is sort of the main color that we're gonna be using. I'm not too worried about precise blending right now. I just want to sort of get the color down and all over. So you can see I'm starting by using patting motions to sort of get the pigment down, and then I'll worry about blending it out after because I want this color to be as vibrant as possible. So I'm just making sure that it's all pressed right where I want it. So I'm taking it all the way from inner to outer corner in a sort of winged out shape, and I'm also going to drag that wing down and connect it to the bottom end of my eye. Now once the base of the colour is down, you can go in with your sort of windshield wiper and circular motions to add a bit more pigment, but also to make sure that the pigment is evenly spread so it's not patchy at all, and then you can focus on sort of blending out your edges as well. Also just want to mention that you do want to take this up quite high in your crease. As you can see, my eye is open here and you can see the shadow really quite up high, even close to the brow bone. You want to make sure you're taking it up really high and out really far because we are going to be cutting out this whole entire middle area, but you still want red to be a really focal point of the look, so make sure you take it really high. Then I'm going to take that same shade on this small smudge brush and just smoke it all the way along my lower lash line, making sure that I connect it right to the outer corner here so it's just one smooth line. We want the whole eye to just be covered in red, like diseased is what we're going for here. So as you can see right now, we have quite a harsh edge on this red, so to blend that out I'm going to take the shade Kobai Azalia from H&M on this tiny little blending brush, and I'm going to take the shade sort of just on the flat edge of the brush, not all the way on the top. And then I'm going to sort of press that flat edge up to the edge of where the red goes. And using small sort of circular motions, I'm just going to gently buff out the edge of this. Now, I don't mind blending mine all the way up sort of to the brow bone. I just sort of like that really blown out smoky look. You can blend it out as high as you feel comfortable with. And using that same technique just to blend out this bottom edge as well. You want everything to be really blown out and smoky, no harsh edges at all. And if you feel like you've over blended, you can go back in with the first shade and just pat some more of the colour on. I would say patting more so than sweeping really vigorously is going to make it just blend even easier. So you don't have to keep going back in with all your previous brushes and blending everything. You're just increasing the colour intensity. And just to add slightly more definition in the crease, just so we have a bit more contrast when we cut it, I'm going to take the Revolution Pro palette, the one with the ridiculously long name, the Regeneration Trends Mischief Mattes palette. Just ridiculous. Whose idea was this? And I'm going to take the shade here called Ricochet on that very same tiny blending brush that we just used to blend out the crease. And I'm going to go right onto the actual crease of my eye. So really quite low down. And I'm just taking this shade ever so slightly in that same sort of winged out shape just to deepen up the red the tiniest bit. So we're now going to go in and focus on the sort of lid area, but before we do that I am just going to add some black liner into my waterline on the bottom as well as the top. The reason I do this before I go in with lid eyeshadows is because I always find that I mess this up and I get like black eyeshadow on my eyelid, which is really annoying. But if you do it before the eyeshadow, then you can just cover it up with the eyeshadow and it's math. So now we're going to go ahead and cut out the crease, well, cut out the entire lid really, but I'm not going to use concealer and a brush. I'm actually going to use the pencil technique that I like to use, which I just find is a lot easier and kind of more beginner friendly. I do have videos on how I do this technique, so I'll leave them linked here, but I'm basically just going to take this pencil from H&M. It's called the Colour Essence Eye Pencil. It's in silver, and you want to make sure that this is nice and sharp so you can get as precise a line as possible. So I'm going to go from the outer corner of my eye and start bringing it outwards, almost as if I was about to draw a winged liner. But once I get out as far as I want, I'm then going to go into my crease. So I'm looking down to see where the natural crease line of my eye is, and I'm going above it. And I'm going to follow the natural shape until I get down and connect it with that outer corner. And then I'm just going to go from the inner corner of my eye, follow it around the natural shape and connect the two. I'm bringing it down quite low because I want that inner corner part to be nice and open. So as you can see, I have my shape that I like, open my eye, and it's nice and above it where I like it to be. So then I'm just going to go and fill it in with the pencil. So now I'm just going ahead and setting that pencil with a silver eyeshadow. I'm using the shade here called Frosted Yum from the Too Faced Power of Makeup palette, which they don't make anymore, so you literally can just go in and use any silver eyeshadow that you want. So once I've set the main part of the lid quite haphazard, I like to go into the shade on the sort of edge of the brush, and then I can press the shadow right up to that crease line, because I don't want to ruin it, but I want to make sure that it's set in place so it doesn't move or crease. So the reason I like to use this technique when sometimes cutting out my crease is I feel like you just get a lot more control with a pencil. You can just draw in the shape exactly how you would on paper, just directly onto your face, so you can get the exact shape that you want. And also, if you're doing like a color block sort of thing like this, it is easier to just use a pencil that is the same color of the eyeshadow that you're going to go in with after, because then you're going to get it as opaque as possible. Whereas if you sort of cut it out with a concealer that's your skin tone, yes, you can get a preciser line, but then you sort of have to build up the shadow to the color that you want it. Whereas I've used a silver pencil and then I just went in with a quick layer of silver eyeshadow and it's completely opaque. And you know, even though, as I was saying, the lines may not quite be as precise as if you went in with concealer and a brush, for this kind of look, I'm not really worried about that because we're going to go back in with liner anyway and sort of clean that up. But before we do that, let's add glitter. I'm starting off just on that same brush I just used for the eyeshadow. I'm applying some of the NYX glitter glue, literally just all over where we just applied the silver. I definitely would recommend doing a look like this before you do all of your base makeup, because we are working with loose glitter and it will fall out everywhere, but obviously I didn't do that because I'm stupid. This glue is quite thick, but I would say don't sort of layer it on in really thick layers, because I found that it doesn't set down completely and then you can end up creasing. So just put a bit out on the back of your hand like I've done and go in with a brush and just pat it on in really sort of a thin layer. It is enough to make any glitter stick, do not worry. The glitter that I'm going in with is another product from Too Faced that they don't make anymore. So again, you can just use any sort of glitter that you want. This is just a nice like plain silver with these really nice sort of gold reflex, but if you had like a holographic one you wanted to use, you could go for that. Or what else would be really good is like the Stila Magnificent Metals ones that I used in my last video, because then you don't have to sort of go through all this mess of using loose glitter. I'm just sort of showing you guys different options, but that would be a lot easier and mess-free. So now is the time for us to outline our shape and clean up our lines and just pretend like it was all perfect right from the beginning. So I'm taking the Suva Beauty Hydra Liner in the shade Scrunchie. This is neon pink, and I'm literally just going to put like one spray of water in it, and then taking this little fine line art brush and just sort of mix it together. With these liners, you don't want them to be too watery, because then you don't get full opacity and you have to sort of keep layering and layering and then they start to crack. So I've just added that tiny bit of water just to make it kind of like thick enough that I can still work with it, but it's not like so thin that it's really watery and disgusting. That was such a long explanation to say literally nothing. And as I said, I'm literally just gonna go ahead and outline this entire shape that we created here. I'm drawing basically on the silver line, not sort of below it, because as I said, I want to just sort of go over it and make it look like it was perfect all the way from the beginning. once I've sort of got down to that inner corner, I'm going to extend it out and then bring it in quite a big kind of triangle and connect it to the inner corner of my eye, but not like right here in the inner corner, sort of where this eye bag starts here, so that this whole space is left open. I just think it creates a kind of nice balance in this wing here, and you've sort of got this kind of opposite wing going on here. It's kind of like shoo. So I just went ahead and very quickly finished off the eye. I obviously added mascara and I added a little bit of liquid liner just to my top lash line. I didn't wing it out or anything. It was just a little line for the lash band to sit on. So now all that is left is to finish up this face. I'm going to start by adding a little bit of highlighter. This is from ColourPop. This is a Suoershock cheek in Highly Wasted. I have taken far too much. You need to be careful with these ColourPop ones because they are very bright. I'm just taking it on my finger because it's a sort of like creamy consistency. I'm just going to tap it onto my cheekbones slightly. I'm using this one because it is sort of a skin tone kind of goldy shade, but it also has a really nice kind of pink reflect, which I think just fits really nicely into the whole Valentine's theme. Not that I really need any more highlight because there is so much glitter still on my face, but it's okay. Now, me personally, in my like day-to-day life, I never wear blush. I just don't like it. I don't think it suits me. I don't think it looks good on me. But again, I feel like having really nice kind of blushed up cheeks does sort of fit the whole like Valentine's like, oh, I'm blushing kind of, I don't know. So I'm going to take one of the blushes from this palette. This is the Makeup Revolution blush palette in Blush Queen. Because I never wear blush, I don't know which one of these to take. I'm thinking maybe like a mix of these two. It doesn't help that the top of this brush is pink, so I can't even see how much I've picked up. I'm probably gonna look like a freaking clown. I'm just gonna take a little bit. These blushes are really shimmery, so on the odd occasion that I do wear them, I do like to sort of take it up and kind of mix it in with the highlight. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but in person, that's a lot. It's a lot. But I actually am not minding because the little bit of this one that I took has more of a kind of cool toned purpley sort of reflect. It kind of looks a little bit ethereal, which I think ties quite nicely into this look because it has a kind of like, I don't know if it's just me, I feel like it has a sort of like space kind of vibe to it, the way it's kind of silver and then the sort of shape that it takes. So maybe we're going on a space date. That'll be cool. Acting as if I even get any real life dates and I'm here talking about space dates. And I mean, for the lip, I feel like red is the only way we really can go, and I've already kind of given it away from the fact that I've put on red liner already. I'm going to take this, which is the Maybelline Vivid Hot Lacquer. This is in the shade Classic. It's just a really nice kind of true, well, classic red. I like it because it's not too bright. It still has a little bit of deepness to it, and these are so opaque. And they stay so glossy and so shiny. Just a word of caution though, these can be quite sticky and they do have a tendency to get all over your teeth. So always just be very aware and do a little lick test every now and then when no one's looking. Quick dash of setting spray. And here we have it, guys. This is the finished look. Perfect for Valentine's Day, if you're going to dinner, if you're going on a space date. I don't know what that could entail, but you know, if it does happen, I'd like to know about that. I'm very intrigued. So if you do happen to go on a space date, leave a comment down below and let me know what exactly happened. I'm going to end the video here and say thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you have somewhere nice to go on Valentine's Day. And if you don't, treat yourself, because really Valentine's Day is just like this commercialized idea of what love should be to get us to spend money. But if you are with someone, you don't need them to wait until one day of the year to show them, for them to show you even that they love you and vice versa. You should be doing that every single day. So if you don't want to buy into Valentine's Day, don't buy into it. If you do want to buy into it, fine, but just, you know, be aware that it's just all part of a system. Anyway, thank you guys again for watching. Make sure you like this video, leave any comments down below, and make sure you please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out, and also helps you out because then you don't miss any future uploads, and that would be really sad if you did. So I'll see you next time, guys. There it is. It has gone already. It has gone. Damn it.